Our gospel for today, my dear friends, is taken from Matthew chapter 18, verses 21 to 19. Well, listen to this, because you often hear this. But it's good to hear one thing the same time, repeated all over again and again, because these are very simple things we can easily remember, but also we can easily forget, and worse, we don't easily do. Because we can easily say it, we can easily hear it, but doing it is something difficult. Peter approached Jesus and asked, "Lord, if my brother sins against me, how often must I forgive him? As many as 7 times?" Jesus answered, "I say to you, not 7 times, but 77 times. That is why the kingdom of heaven may be likened to a king who decided to settle accounts with his servants. When he began the accounting, a debtor was brought before him who owed him a huge amount. Since he had no way of paying it back, his master ordered him to be sold, along with his wife, his children, and all his property, in payment of the debt. At that the servant fell down, did him homage, and said, 'Be patient with me, I will pay you back in full.' Moved with compassion, the master of the servant let him go and forgive him the loan. When that servant had left, he found one of his fellow servants who owed him a much smaller amount. He seized him and started to choke him, demanding, 'Pay back what you owe.' Falling to his knees, his fellow servant begged him, 'Be patient with me, and I will pay you back.' But he refused. Instead, he had a fellow servant put in prison until he paid back the debt. Now when his fellow servants saw what happened, they were deeply disturbed, and went to their master and reported the whole affair. His master summoned him and said to him, 'You wicked servant, I forgave you your entire debt because to me. Should you not have had pity on your fellow servant as I had pity on you?' Then in anger his master handed him over to the torturers until he should pay back what he owed, the whole debt. So will my heavenly Father do to you, unless each of you forgives his brother from his heart." When Jesus finished these words, he left Galilee and went to the district of Judea across the Jordan. That is a reading from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 18, verses 21 to 19, verse 1. So you see what I'm telling you? This is a very difficult, easy passage, but difficult thing to do. Forgiveness. Forgiving a person out of your goodness, out of justice. Now, what is emphasized in this very clear story of Jesus is that a person sometimes would always forget what God has done for him, how God has been merciful to him, but in exchange he would forget this act of God and would be so strict and cruel towards others. So you see, when people start becoming crude or rude towards other people, they become unforgiving and rough towards other people, I think it's important to remind them that somehow God did not do this to them. God never did this to them. And therefore they should sort of show off this kind of God's mercy and compassion to others. Forgiveness is one of those. We cannot understand how people cannot forgive when God himself, who is much, much greater than you or a person, can forgive. So I think this is the lesson of the reading. Look at God, look at his compassion, look at his forgiveness. I would say shame on you if you refuse forgiveness to others.